people don't know who I am, Dr. Keneiloe Molopyane. I'm an archaeologist as well as a biological anthropologist. So I specialize in excavation techniques, archaeological excavation techniques, and the human skeleton. I really love skeletons. I was that creepy girl in class that loved bones. I've been nicknamed Bones by my friends. That's how much I'm so into this. I've wanted to be an archaeologist since I was 7 years old. So I've carried that sort of excitement and passion for it since then. I got to university, studied archaeology, then branched off into biological anthropology. So I did my PhD at WITS. And it was during my PhD time that I met Lee Berger in 2018. He had put out a second ad for underground astronauts to go back into the Dina Lady chamber to continue excavations in that chamber. So like a good PhD student, I procrastinated during the writing up phase. And instead of continuing writing, I was like, I'm just going to go away for a while.
Take care of it later,
Break. I'm going to go away. And so I applied for the post and I got it. So that was my breakaway from the PhD. It was to go spelunking, become an underground and go on the greatest adventure of my life. Going through this cave system, incredible cave system, and risking life and limb to, dig up these fossil remains of Homo naledi. And, that was my first chapter into this team and my first involvement in the papers that we just released. Because in 2018, that's when we sort of understood the distribution of the fossils within the chamber to a greater extent than we had in 2013, 2015. Okay. And that's when we noticed, the shallow burials were actual burials. The ground had been disturbed before us. So that sort of sparked off in 2018 and, it went on from there. And then last year, 2022, I became the lead excavator for the Dragon's Back chamber, which is in the same cave system as Rising Star. So I went from being a little junior to now being a senior on the team, leading a team of excavators working in Dragon's Back. And it was during that expedition when Professor Berger lost a lot of weight, and he thought that he was going to be brave enough and he was going to
squeeze through.
He was going to squeeze
Superman.
his way through to the Dina Lady chamber. And, I often say this to a lot of people who ask what it's like. It's not about being small and skinny. I know a lot of people are like, oh yeah, you're so skinny. Obviously, you'd make it.
You have to be brave too.
You have to be brave. You have to be very, very brave. And not just brave, you have to be strong. Like physically and mentally, you have to be strong. Well, in the beginning, in 2018, it was really exciting to be finding things all the time. And, to like realizing that, hey, actually this might be deliberate, disposal, like actual burials. It might be a thing. It was crazy. And then things sort of like died down for a little bit. Because then, like the geology needed to happen. And so for me, at least, it wasn't so exciting now. For Tebogo, the head geologist, he was like, yeah, this is amazing. So it's great.
Yeah.
But, there's this bit of the other side where we're so used to finding things that you almost sort of become immune to the excitement. It's not exciting anymore. You're just like, oh, another one. Oh, another one.
Yeah.
And then something out of the ordinary sticks out to you. After a couple of weeks.
A lot of work, meticulous.
Wow. Yeah, and then the things start coming together. Then the puzzle pieces start coming together. With the engravings, that was a surprise. I was not expecting that. I don't think anybody. So the engravings were actually not that far away from the Dina Lady chamber. They're in the Dina Lady chamber.
Okay. Okay.
So we were walking and touching them the entire time, us being in the Dina Lady chamber working there.
Yeah.
And there've been like over what, 47 people that have been there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we just never paid attention to the wall because we always went in there with the mission. Either I was excavating or they were taking geology samples. We never bothered to look at the wall, right?
Never saw the graffiti. Yeah.
We never saw the graffiti. We never saw the evidence of fire on the roof because we never looked up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Until Lee Berger goes in there on his first time, nearly dying, which is probably why he looked up. He was probably praying, like, "Oh, what have I done?"
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a surprise for me. Actually, I don't want to lie. That was a surprise. So when Lee said that he found these, what he thinks are markings, engravings, I was like, nah, man. Nah, maybe it's just natural weathering. Nah. And he's like, no, look. And you look at them and you're just like, okay, actually
This seems deliberate.
it looks convincing, this thing, you know? So the idea behind that preprint was just to describe what we're seeing on the walls and what they could potentially mean. Obviously, we now need to do further research into that, but just the idea or the presence of them being there, and if they do match up with the dates for Homo naledi, we're going to have to question ourselves a lot as to what it means to be human and why we're so special as humans, because clearly we're not. The really nice thing about the preprints is that it's got a conversation going with a lot of scientists. So everyone's giving us their comments, their opinions, whatever. So now the plan is to filter through everything that's been said or suggested, and possibly come up with collaborations and work with people. Be like, okay, help us to answer these questions. Hey, you had this opinion about this or this suggestion here. Do you think you could help us with that? That for me is the lesson that I learned from Lee Berger in making such bold statements. He's like, don't be afraid to do it, put it out there, because somebody out there will either help you address it or correct you if you're wrong. So that's one of the lessons that I'm learning here. So we're always open to collaborations. We will continue excavating. I know we're planning to go back into Rising Star this year, to Dragon's Back, and not Dina Lady yet. You know, we sort of left Dina Lady as it is. Like you said, everything is quite fragile in that chamber space. And also, you know, getting the material out of that chamber is not easy. It's a real task. So if we don't have to do it, we're not going to do it. You know, we'll just do all the 3D scanning and everything until an easier way is developed.